Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Cecilia Howard. How are you doing today? Today is actually one of the happiest day of my life, and I will be sharing with you my journey to become a US citizen. Yay! I actually became a US citizen today, and I'll be giving you the story behind this, and I'll be bringing on this show today my wonderful husband, Dr. Sean. Yeah, and he will also be trying to give us some tips on how someone can become a U.S. citizen. I hope you're gonna enjoy this video today. And if you're new to this YouTube channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Cecilia Howard's YouTube channel, and I discuss a lot about how to make healthy meal, healthy drink, DIY beauty hack, life hack. Please check out my channel for more details. So now, without further ado, I'm gonna call on my husband, Dr. Sean, to come on in, and let's begin today's video. Welcome, welcome.
Oh yeah, it's been a long time. Let's do this. Welcome to America.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it's good to be here. Be
Thank
able
you
to
so much.
have the conversation. It's been a long journey.
Yeah.
How many years has it been? 20. You came in 2011. Right?
Yeah, I know. I came in 2012.
2012. I'm sorry.
I came in 2012.
I came in 2011.
Yeah, you came in
2012.
2011.
It's been
Yes.
so. Why are we doing this video?
We're actually doing this video today to help our viewers out there that have the same aspiration of becoming a US citizen, to tell them the steps they can take, different options available to them, legit options available to them to become a US citizen. And I believe that from today's conversation, people can actually gain one or two things. And this video might probably go viral. You can't know. And you don't even know who you will be helping. So that's the reason why I'm doing this video today.
So let's flash back a little bit. You came in 2012. You
Yeah.
were denied visa how many times?
4 times.
Yeah. Started out in Lagos.
Yes.
You were denied. So I came in 2011. I think 3 months after I came in, you applied for your first visa in
Yes.
Lagos. You were denied.
Yes.
And then you were like, oh, I'm going to go to Abuja and apply. And then you went to Abuja, you applied in Abuja, you were denied again.
Yeah. And by the way, Lagos actually is in West Africa,
Oh, yeah.
Nigeria.
Sorry for those
And
that-
Abuja is in West Africa, Nigeria. We're actually originally from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. So you can continue, Dr. Sean.
So our first denial was in Lagos, second rejection was in Abuja, and then you went back to Lagos, and they were like, "Nah, we're not ready for you." So that's when they said, "Okay, you have to tell Sean to come back."
Yes, yes, yes.
And then, by the way, I think I've talked to a couple of people in that situation where the spouse are applying in Nigeria and a couple of African countries.
Yes.
And they said the spouse need to come back. Don't be scared. Just go back, show up at the interview with them, and just convince the consular officer that she's my wife, he's my husband, and just have that conversation, get your story straight. Okay. Fourth time we went in together. I flew back to Nigeria. That was 2012, and then we went in together, and then you got the visa.
Yes, I got a visa.
We are Christian. The God factor is very important.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about when you were hopping between getting the visa, praying, and grammar was also a big factor in this whole thing.
Yes.
At that point, you weren't working anymore. You were like, I'm done with everything. I'm just going to stay at home until I get this visa.
Yeah.
Help me a little to understand what was going on at that point.
So actually, one thing I will tell you is that if you're actually a Christian, you cannot force God to do something for you at the time that you want. God will always do it for you at his own best time. That is actually the best time for you. So, like my husband said, I applied for my visa 3 months after my husband traveled. Actually, my husband traveled 4 days after we got married. Can you imagine? We were meant to be doing honeymoon. Then he came to the States for his doctorate. So 3 months down the line, I applied for my first visa in Lagos, Nigeria. I was denied. The officer told me that I'm not married, even though he was holding our marriage certificate. Wow. Then the second time I decided to go to Abuja, that maybe Lagos people don't like me, I went to Abuja. Then I got to Abuja, the same thing happened. The officer told me, looking at my certificate, wedding certificate, and told me, you're not married. I'm like, okay, this is it. Then during that time, it was very, very challenging. I was praying, I was holding on to God, and I used to pray with my husband every morning. Even though my money in Nigeria was my husband's night because of the time difference. But we made it a point of contact every morning, which is my 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning, to pray together as a couple. So the third time I applied, and I didn't want to apply after the second denial, but I remember my friend Taiwo Agbaje. She actually, Ne's wife, she actually encouraged me. She told me that day after I was denied that, Tammy, you can't just give up, you have to apply. I told her, I'm like, maybe they don't like me, maybe they don't want me to come to America, but I took that word, you know. And also my mom of a blessed memory today. We did a lot of stuff in terms of praying. I went to redemption camp. They weren't having any service. I went there, prayed. My mom prayed with me. We went to Mushin to see Pastor E. Adeboye. He laid his hand on my passport. And this day we were actually drenched, soaked with rain that day. But he prayed for me. I went the third time. I was denied visa. It was at the third time they told me that, tell your husband to come back to Nigeria and you guys should come. But this time, you don't have to pay for any visa fee. They gave me a paper, a document that come at any time. I told my husband, it was really like a tug of war. He was like, you want me to come back?
Literally after 9 months or something?
9 months, yeah. It was like, you want me to come back? I'm like, yes, if you really, really love me, you have to come back. Because they told me, you need to come, show your face. So my husband came to Lagos and we went for the visa interview. And the only thing the officer asked you was...
Yeah, he pretty much asked me maybe 2-3 questions. And the first one is, do you know this lady? I was like, oh yeah, sure, she's my wife. I was like, what's her name? And I told her your name, and they said, okay, so when are you guys planning to go back? I said, if you give it to me now, I'm going back tomorrow. I have work on my table. I'm ready to go back. And I was like, okay, give us that green sticker.
Yes, that should pick up my
that we should pick it up. I said, okay, you guys can go pick it up and give us the address. And I think we flew back maybe less than a week after that.
Yeah, like a week. We came back. But we came back.
And so you came in with...
I came in, they gave me F2 visa because my husband was on F1 as a student.
So F1 is student visa,
F2 is the spouse dependent. You get F2
of student visa. Right?
But another limitation to that visa is that you cannot do anything under the law. If you are a wife or dad, you just come, make babies, eat, you can't do anything. So.
Now moving forward, you came in on F1. Okay, tell me a little bit about when we touched down at Atlanta and we were literally dragging bags and you were caboosing, like just praying literally, say, oh, I'm here now, I possess everything on this line.
Yes, that is actually powerful. That's the main point of this video. So I remember immediately we landed in Atlanta. My husband was just, I should be carried away by the beauty of this wonderful country, looking everywhere and all that. But immediately I stepped out of that plane. My spirit's mind was just like, Tammy, start praying. And I started praying that, God, I have stepped on this land. This land, America, must pay me. It must favor me. And I keep declaring the blessings of America, from the north, from the south, from the east. You must look at me. Somebody is here to take possession. And I was praying all along. And to God be the glory. All those prayers were actually seeds. Because God heard the prayer. And my journey since then was just like, boom.
Yeah, so you came in through F2.
Yeah.
Now I remember there's a 90-day rule that says if you come in through a particular visa status, you have to wait 90 days for you to be able to switch to another visa status.
Yeah.
But the original plan was to move you from F2 to F1.
Yeah.
So because you're going to go to school, and I have been talking to schools before you came in.
Yes.
So when you came in, I think it was around 60 days, 60 something days after that, we drove down to Mexico.
Yes, we drove down to Mexico.
And then because you got admission to
I got admission.
Right. And then we went to Mexico. We switched the F2
to
to
F1.
So you applied in Mexico. And your story was the only story I've really seen of someone going in for visa application and literally walking out with the visa.
With the visa, yeah.
Because I was standing outside. I was like, why is this interview taking so long? Just come out. What is taking so long?
Yeah.
And then when you came out, you were like holding your passport. So at this point, you had your visa.
Yes.
Now you're on F1. So now you move from F2, which is spouse of a student, to becoming a student yourself, which is F1.
Yes.
And then you did grad school for 2 years. You have a master's degree, all on F1.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about so after F1, you have an OPT.
Yes.
And through the OPT, you can actually move on to get H1B through your employer. Tell me a little bit about your OPT struggle with employers and H1B story. Any take on that?
Okay. So, actually, as a student, after you're done with your studies, if you're within the STEM, science, technology, engineer, and maths, you are allowed to work for 1 year. And you can actually extend after done 1 year for...
Yeah, I know there've been some changes now.
Then it was 24...
Correct,
24 months, additional 24 months. So I was on my first year OPT, working as a scientist there in Florida. Then my OPT was about to... Even before I got the OPT, that was another struggle.
Yeah, that was
because I got the job in 2014. To start January 2015, but my OPT, because I graduated December 2014, so immediately I graduated, God was super faithful. I got a job, so I had to apply for my OPT, and you have to wait for 90 days, give or take. So I went to Florida to start a job, but I was still waiting for my OPT because I can't start the job. So it took me almost 1 month staying at home, waiting for my OPT, trying to pray, press all the buttons and all that. Finally, I got the OPT.
I called the House of Rep.
Yes, we called the House of Rep, everybody that can help us to expedite my OPT, because I already had a job then waiting. So I started the job, and my OPT, 1 year OPT, run down. And I was like, are you guys going to fight for me H1B, or what am I going to do? So I decided to put in to fight for an extension, and which was actually 2 years there. So I filed for the extension while I was on my second year OPT. I didn't like my job. And my husband was rounding up his doctorate degree there. So at some point, I had to tell him that I'm tired of you being in another state. I'm in another state. We just have to be together. Then I took a leap of faith. Don't do this. I actually stopped working, hoping that I'm going to find another job. Then I moved to the state that my husband was then working, and he was rounding up his doctorate. You were actually working for Department of Energy then.
Yeah, so I was done with DOE and moving into another state, and DOE was filing H1B for me at that point.
Yes.
But I didn't see. So if they file H1B for me, they have to file. I think it's H4 or something like that
H4
for
the
you.
spouse.
But at that point, H4 couldn't work at that point. I know there's
Yes.
been some changes in this here and there. So I felt the right thing to do was for me to just go ahead and start the green card process myself.
Yes.
So the different ways you can file for green card, the route I decided to take was the employer base, which is EB. So I filed a national interest waiver EB2.
EB2.
You don't really need an employer to do that.
Yeah.
So EB2 is pretty much for people with advanced degree. You have masters with couple of years of experience. You have PhD with some very reasonable research. And so I work with DOE. I did a lot of research for DOE.
Department of Energy, by the way.
Department of Energy. So I was able to put all of that together and then file the national interest waiver myself. So I
Yes.
didn't need any employer to help me do that. So there's EB1, which is like the Nobel and all those. That's the first preference, and then there's EB2, which is skilled people with extraordinary ability. And then there's EB3. EB3 is general skilled worker. There's EB4. And there's also EB5. I think EB4 is religion, different organizations, and all of that. Then EB5 is investors.
Yes,
So
investors.
they're like different employer-based categories. So I went for the EB2 national interest waiver, pretty much making the claim that I have done some big things for the country, and if they want me to stay over here, these are some of the things I can continue to do for them. So I filed for the EB2 NIW, and pulling this. So there are two forms you need to file. You need to file your I-140 and then your I-485. So I filed my I-140, and because you were running out of time at that point,
Yes.
because you were on OPT, the company wouldn't file H1B.
Yes.
I tried to print my 485. I mean, then we can go into detail on all of this, but you can check this thing up online. So I filed the 485, and then they gave you the
EAD card.
EAD cards.
Yes.
Okay, so we got the EAD card, and at that point you could walk,
I
you
could
do
walk,
some
I could
things.
do whatever I want.
Now, this was in 2016.
2016, December 20, no, not December, 2016.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah, 2016,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was something like that. So anyway, and once you get your green card, you have to wait 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
That's if you get your green card through employer based.
Employer based.
There's also family based.
Yeah.
Family based is another route which you can definitely use to get into. That's if your parents are born here, if you're born here, things like that. You
Yeah.
can also, you won't chip into.
Yeah, just to recap, there are several ways you can get U.S. citizenship. So different categories. You can get U.S. citizenship by birth. If you're born in United States, you automatically became a U.S. citizen. You can get U.S. citizenship if your parents, one or both of your parents, are legally born here, or if they have their citizenship here, if they are naturalized as a U.S. Citizen, you can get your U.S. citizenship. Then the third way is getting U.S. citizenship by derivatives. That is the EB1, employment base. So the EB1s is in 5 categories. We have EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, EB5. So EB1 is for people with extraordinary abilities. If you're a musician, actors, athletes, Oscar Award winner, you fall under that category. For Nobel laureate professor, researcher, they fall under that category. Then the EB2 is for people with extraordinary abilities. You can find EB2 under National Interest Waiver, NIW. You can check that one out. That was the one my husband did, and I was able to get my green card through him. So you can do that. And there is also EB3, which is also employment based. your employer needs to file that one for you. But for EB1, you can do it yourself. EB2, you can do it yourself. But EB3, your employer needs to file it for you. And it takes time because you need to be on OPT to H1B, then wait before they decide if they want to file it for you. And if you're lucky, they can decide to keep you on H1B and keep renewing, because H1B does not lead to being a citizen. So there is also EB4. EB4 is for
that's for religion,
different organization, pastors, and all that. They can get EB4. Then the EB5 is for people that want to come and invest. You have a big companies outside the United States, you want to come and invest here. EB5 is another option you can explore. So I will let you continue, but at least I've let you know different ways you can get United States citizenship. And please do your research. Don't limit your knowledge to what we're telling you, because there are a lot of information out there. But the best way you can get your information is to go on USCIS website. I'll keep the link in the description below so that you can check it out. There are so many opportunities in this country. But I'll let you continue just to wrap up.
Yeah, I think the one thing I want to put on that before I come back to you is coming to US as a student is like one of the easiest way to come over here.
Yes.
Because your case is simple. I'm going over to US to go study.
Yes.
And it's a non-immigrant visa. Pretty much what you're telling them is, I'm going to go to school over there. Once I'm done, I'm coming back home. But there's a path. Once you're done with school, you have the ability to stay back and explore for a couple of months, years, and then you can decide if you want to go back or if you want to stay. But that part is very easy. And most people don't get rejected if you're applying for a visa on that ground. But if you're coming through other ways, B1, B2, visiting, I want to quickly go visit, there will be some extra scrutiny that goes with that. So I like to wrap it up. So overall, what are some lessons learned that you just want to share with people, like general lesson learned along this journey? God has been faithful because we are people of faith. But if there's any lesson you just want to share with people, now that you're home.
So I just want to put it out there. I am a Christian and I can't put my faith by the side. Everything I have achieved today is to the glory of God, with the help of my husband and my family members and friends too. Everybody, you have your own pathway in life. But the most important thing is that you must be able to identify what God wants you to do. If coming to United States is what God wants for you, go for it. Pray and try to do it legally. There is an adage that as a child, you must crawl before you walk. Don't look at other people. This is the route that this person used to get it faster, quicker. I want to do that. Don't do that. If you do that, definitely there won't be God's blessing in there. Identify the best route for you. Like I said, a lot of information is out there. You can come in as a student, like what my husband and myself did. We came in as a student. We knew nobody. We don't have a senator as a brother, but we came in as F1 students with nothing. And we look for information. How can we become a United States citizen? And we started everything. My husband went to school here for his doctorate. I did my master's degree. I was working. He was rounding up. And we look for information. Your employer can file for you. If your employer is not filing for you, as a STEM student, science, technology, engineering, math student, or someone with extraordinary abilities, you can file for yourself. You can take this step with God on your side, praying, and you will get it. And becoming US citizen does not happen overnight. You need to wait. I was a lawful permanent resident for 5 good years before I put in application to become a US citizen. My husband was the same, waited for 5 years. So I waited for 11 years before I can become a US citizen. My husband waited for 11 years. And here we are today, to the glory of God, we're US citizens. So the whole story that I'm saying is that it takes steps and patience and prayer. You have to be prayerful. You can't leave God out of this. One step at a time, and knowing that the future is bright, that you will get it. That is how you can get it, and that is how you can do it the legal way, the right way, that God's blessing will be on you without any iota of doubt.
Yeah, I think
wanna round it up?
that's good information. I think all I can say at this point is welcome home, baby.
Thank you, sweetie.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for
Appreciate
watching this
it. If
video.
you have any question,
Yeah, let me know
just
in
let
the
us
comment
know.
section. Bye for now.
Yep.
Let me go.